I've tried a whole bunch of gaming IEMs over the past many years of reviewing different kinds of IEMs, but not many of them have come to this level of appreciation from my side at least, especially at this price point. Thank you to the folk at Headphone Zone for making this review possible by sending me this demo unit. All thoughts and opinions are my own. And of course, let's jump quickly into how this unboxing is and how it's built. The unboxing experience with this does remind me of the first generation Tangzu Warner because it's almost identical in every way, except from the fact that the art on this is a bit different. You do get a very nice sort of cleaning cloth which follows the same artwork that you see on the box, which is a nice welcome. I'm glad it's a cleaning cloth and not just a cardboard reprint. And then, of course, you do get the IEMs inside it. You will get the cable. You also do get a whole bunch of ear tips. You get 6 sets of these silicone ear tips, but you also get another 6 sets of a specialized Tangzu ear tip. And I really do like how these look and feel. And these also do tend to make your whatever it is you're listening to sound a lot fuller. So I have found myself using these a lot more than the other ear tips provided in the box. And then moving on to the cable, well, this is some sort of OFC. It is a rubber cable, so it can be kind of microphonic if it rubs against your collar or your shirt while you're using this. The loops do fit nice and tightly around my ears. Sometimes the left does feel like it pops out a bit, but I guess you just have to let it settle over some time. Now this side of the cable is terminated to a 0.78, which goes into the IEM, of course, and the other for this is terminated to a 3.5. You can get this in a USB Type-C variant as well, which is nice. Now the left side of the cable is quite normal looking, but when you move on to the right side of the cable, you'll notice that it does have this different addition here. And if you do plug this, or should I say unplug this little plastic cable from here, or should I say cap, you'll see another sort of 0.78 mm connector here, which is actually for the provided microphone. So once you plug this in to the cable, you will immediately have access to a microphone. This is slightly flexible. You can sort of bend and twist this microphone in different ways, but I find this to be a very cool concept. I've not really seen this or experienced this with any IEMs before. Headphones, yes, but never really with IEMs. So it's a pretty cool sort of feature, but you will see the microphone sort of marking here at the other end. But I've noticed that this section sort of turns around a lot. I do wish it were better fixed. I'm not too sure if this will affect the microphone test that I'll do, which you can see in the later part of this video. But yeah, this does swivel around. I wish it was a little more secure, of course. And then moving on to the IEMs themselves. These do have a very cool look to them because it does look like they've got this sort of glass enclosure. I'm pretty sure it's not glass per se. It does have this really cool purple design within it with this sort of button looking type thing on the faceplate, which is not really a button. It looks like it, but it isn't. And then it does have some text over here on the faceplate, which you will see a little bit better in my close-up shots of the IEMs. And then when you move on to the rest of it, well, it does have a slightly see-through enclosure. It's definitely some sort of resin. But one thing I have noticed is that the nozzle in particular is on the shorter side. I have spent time with some IEMs that have a much longer nozzle that fit much further into the ear. Now this can feel comfortable for a lot of people, but I think a lot of people also do prefer slightly deeper IEMs where the nozzle is a bit longer. So this is something to keep in mind. If you're okay with feeling like the nozzle is too short or like it's about to pop out, keep in mind it might feel like that. Now it can give you the sensation of almost popping out, but it doesn't. It does sit pretty securely, at least within my ear it does. And it's never really popped out. I've not really had a situation where it's popped out of my ear, even if it's gotten tugged against my elbow or something, cable that is, and it does sit pretty securely. Now on a comfort front, this does certainly help when it comes to longer listening times, because some people aren't comfortable with having these deep in their ear for too long. So I think having shorter nozzles is a win. Now another good thing about having shorter nozzles, which I think a lot of people should know about, is it can help with your staging as well as give you slightly better bass response instead of having it all the way in your ear. So I guess Tangzu has thought about this and done this quite deliberately. Now, as you did see, this comes with the microphone, not in the typical way where it's on the cable here. It drops down from just above the IEM, which is a very cool thing. I've never seen this before. So anyway, if you do want to know how your voice will carry over to your fellow gamer buddies, or if you want to use this to take phone calls, here's a quick demo to show you how your vocal tonality will carry over to your recipients. Here I am in my studio. So this is obviously a very controlled environment. If you plan on using these IEMs somewhere out on a street while you're walking, don't expect your voice to be sort of controlled and modulated so no noise carries over to your recipient. These do not have environmental noise cancelling because they are not active in any form. If you are in a controlled environment, it will be that much clearer for your recipient. Now, I have been on the camera microphone all this time, and I have plugged these IEMs into a DAC amp that has pass through. So I'll plug it into my phone right now. And it says recording audio through headset. So it's moved over to the microphone here. So I do suspect that the gain will be considerably lower than what my internal microphone was doing. So I will bring this microphone a little closer to my mouth. And like I did mention, it does have this microphone module that turns and sort of twists. I'm not too sure if the overall vocal tonality will change. So right now I think it's facing my mouth, whereas I'll turn it up and away. So you can be the best judge to see if that changes. So this is something you might have to keep in mind while you're on your phone, gaming or whatever, your Steam Deck or whatever, because if it sort of gets knocked and moves around, your vocal tonality may change. Let me know down in the comments if you do see a significant difference while I do that. And of course, I do hope that this demo has given you a better understanding for these IEMs. And I'll see you in the chapter about sound. These come with 10 glass diaphragm dynamic drivers, have a frequency response of 20 Hz all the way up to 20,000 Hz, and have a very easy to drive low resistance of just 18 ohms. So I have tried this very briefly with music, not too much, but I've been driving this with a pretty powerful little DAC amp, so I'm comfortable with this at around 25% volume. It's more than comfortable for me there. The minute you start pushing up to about maybe 35, 40, it can get too loud, and I wouldn't recommend listening to this too loud if you intend on preserving your hearing over prolonged periods of time, of course. Now, one very different thing that I've done for this review is I've not spent too much time listening to this with music. I have done a little bit of music, yes, but considering these are gaming earphones, I decided to plug these into my Steam Deck, and I have thrown a few games at this. In fact, I have been toying with the idea of not really reviewing my Steam Deck, but generally sharing my experience with you guys. Let me know in the comments if you do want me to make that video about the Steam Deck. It's a beautiful little gaming console. But yeah, coming back to the IEMs, well, I have thrown Forza at it. I've played a bit of Forza. I've played Star Wars Squadrons. I've thrown a little bit of Batman at this. And just to sort of gauge how it will manage with gaming in particular. And one thing I really do need to say is, these on a stage front, they're surprisingly good. I wouldn't say they're as good as open back headphones. There's no chance that something in this price range can do that. But it does hold and hover its soundstage very well in various certain settings. Now, I did think that it will start muddling up if there were too many things happening. So there was my experience with this during Forza was I did lose, or should I say lose traction and go off the track into the gravel at one point in time. And all that noise that was happening, the sound of the engine, the sound of tires losing traction, the sound of gravel being picked up, slamming into bushes, with all that busy sound going on, it was very easy to distinguish where exactly what was happening. If I'm going to a bush on this side, where I've lost traction on the left side, and so on. So it's pretty surprising that something at this price is able to do something like this. Now, one thing I will say though is I did discover that the as nice as the Steam Deck is, I think it's got a good enough little DAC in it. But the amp output via the 3.5 out of the Steam Deck is definitely not as good as something you could have separately. It's the same story with all our phones, which is why most of us do like to have those dongle DACs or whatever else. So I did plug in my usual go-to dongle DAC to the USB out, or USB-C. So it bypasses the internal DAC amp, and this was definitely a lot of fun to listen to and use for games on a stage front. Imaging wise, it's not the sharpest sounding IEMs out there. I mean, I have heard things that are tuned to be a lot sharper with response, especially when it comes to its detail recovery. But I like that it's not razor sharp. It's not cutting through your ear, especially like I mentioned, going off track and going onto gravel. Sometimes those kind of sounds can cause fatigue, especially if you're, let's say, driving off road, or if you're playing some FPS games where you're playing where you're rubbing against walls and so on. That kind of that frequency can cause fatigue over longer gaming sessions. So it doesn't do that. It stays very clear of being cumbersome on the ear. So I think its imaging is pretty spot on, because even when you're listening to something on a stage front, you can place everything within the stage very well. Its highs, mids, and lows. Now, this is not something that it's something you look at as individual entities like you do with music. But I will say that during gaming, dialogue came through pretty clear whenever I was listening to stuff. Anybody talking, I didn't really need or feel the urge to read any subtitles or switch that toggle on. Highs when it comes to anything that I was doing. In fact, there's a camera mode you can switch to where you go to the front of the vehicle in Forza, and the sound changes drastically, because, and I must say, man, the sound design on some of these games is absolutely spectacular, and these do justice to good sound design, I will say. So once I switch over to that camera, you can hear the turbos spooling and everything you need to hear from, I mean, if you're driving a front-engined car. So it's a lot of fun, I'd say, with that. So that's for the highs. The lows, when it comes to maybe explosions when you're going across something, or there's something going on, or in Batman, I think I was playing something where there was something's going off. It handles its lower frequencies pretty well. I wouldn't say it's large and bloated. It's definitely there's certainly an elevation there. It's not flat sounding. Flat would obviously be very boring, but on a lower frequency front, this definitely is a lot of fun to listen to over there with lower frequency stuff, be it explosions and whatever else. I did throw some music at it, not too much. Like I said, I did want to assess these as strictly gaming IEMs, but I did throw a few tracks. One of them was Osmosis. I will leave that down below, and the album art up here for you to check out. This is a beautifully recorded track from many years ago, and the thing is, everything sort of comes out and plays out very well with these IEMs, because if you close your eyes and listen to it, you'll hear a few things, coming from a little above your right ear, a little higher up. So it does have a certain sense of vertical stage, even with gaming as well. And it does it I wouldn't say in a safe manner. These are certainly not tuned in a very safe way, but I will say that it is tuned in an inoffensive way. It's not tuned to cause any discomfort with most frequency ranges. I haven't really found or been disgruntled with anything that is thrown at me with any games. Music wise as well, it's kind of well balanced. It's not, I don't feel it's lacking. Then again, if you're somebody who's coming from a set of KZ earphones, bass edition stuff, you're not going to like the bass on this. It's not going to be big and large and that sort of in your face. I'd say it's better structured. It's tighter. It's sort of certainly not boosted to hell and high water. It's fine for most audiophiles, but not for most bass enthusiasts. This is definitely not a bass enthusiast set of IEMs for certain. So, if you are somebody who is into gaming and you really do like gaming, and you just want something to plug into your phone, I'd say consider looking at the USB-C variant, because that'll have its own decoder to do all of this. If you're somebody who likes different flavors with DAC amps, and you have multiple DAC amps that you use for your phone, go for the 3.5. That's the one to go for. I like doing that. I like different flavors from different DAC amps, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I have genuinely enjoyed playing with this. In fact, these are have been my go-to IEMs for the Steam Deck. I used to use wireless earphones or headphones with it, but over the last, maybe I've been using it for a week. I've been only plugging this into the Steam Deck, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, there you have it. If you do want to buy this, at the time of recording this video, this does have an MRP of about 5,999. But of course, if you don't want to buy it, you can do so for about 4,999 from the guys at Headphone Zone, who've been kind enough to send this demo unit to me and really enjoy over the last week. So anyway, there you have it. That's my review on the XT-01 by Tangzu. And I do hope that this video has helped you make some sort of purchase decision. And of course, if you would like to help support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning in for some sound advice.